voice first.
Buying or renting?
Yeah, 7:05. Should we just go right into it? Or should we do some minutes first, or?
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
We can do the minutes first.
Are we on?
Those should be easy.
Okay. We're going to open the July 9th Selectmen's meeting. Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. We have a couple of minutes before our 7:05 appointment. We have open session meeting minutes, June 24th and July 3rd of this year. And we have executive session minutes, which I don't know if you want to have a conversation about, or if you're all good.
Fine.
Yeah, good.
All right, I did have a little bit of I was not sure whether we should release the land swap because I don't know if it's over yet.
Then I would wait on it.
Not that it's going to affect anything anyway.
I
So
don't think there's anything in there that
I don't think so.
nobody knows. I mean,
Right.
it's not going to hurt our negotiating to release those.
Agreed?
Agreed.
All right. So do you want to do these all at once?
Yeah.
Yep.
The open session and the executive session?
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I will just touch on the town council. Tim Wheeler had requested to be able to speak with town council, he said, for a few minutes regarding a common driveway opinion. If he was here, I would let him speak to it, but he's not here tonight.
But if they need, once again,
Right. I told him I wanted to run it by you guys first.
motion to approve.
So,
They did?
do I hear a motion to approve planning board using town council?
I just did.
Oh, seconded.
Okay, I didn't even hear you.
June heard me.
Okay. And you seconded it?
I did.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm surprised at the next one because I had asked Mr. ZPT if they were going to have to purchase some property for the POTUS solar array, and he said no. But now it looks as though they would like to, I guess, so we'd be sending what is it, the 167 West Street, Chapter 61B, Notice of Intent to Town Council for review.
Do we have it? We don't have it yet, do we?
Yeah, we
Oh,
do.
we do have it? Okay. And do we want to wait for conservation, et cetera, to weigh in, or?
Is this a time-sensitive thing?
I think they wanted to build. I mean, they're already ripping down trees, but I don't know the answer to that. They don't
Okay.
indicate, they just gave the standard lawyer notice of intent to sell the property.
Okay. So what's your pleasure, ladies?
I don't know enough about it to
I
approve it.
guess- Yeah, I'd like at least conservation to weigh in. It's conservation recreation, right? That piece of property? Was that what it was? There are others who
It's
who
the,
have opinions on this.
one-
Yeah, I think it'd be a conflict of interest for me to comment on that, because that's my sister and I'm on the Conservation Commission,
Okay,
so I'd rather make
Okay.
sure.
Abstain, okay.
Right.
all right. Well, we could wait then till we have a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Actually, Carolyn O'Donnell's walking in.
Okay. Hello. Can
You
you,
timed that perfectly.
has conservation talked about the intent to take out of 61B the West Street property?
No, because that just came up the other day. We haven't met since.
Okay,
We have spoken to her in the past about her wanting us to purchase the property. but we couldn't really get close to a price, so apparently she's going in this direction
Okay.
instead.
So you guys will probably talk about that at your next meeting then?
Yes,
And when is your next meeting?
the 17th, so next
Okay.
Wednesday.
So we
Um,
would know by the following meeting.
Yeah, so we'll hold for our next meeting.
Okay. Can you put that on the next meeting agenda, Mary? All right. And,
It's 7:05.
Yeah.
yep. Police Chief Galvin.
Hello.
You have to speak loudly
I'll do my best. So this
and
is
smile to the camera.
Jesse Reed. So this is always one of the fun times to come in front of the board. So as we talked before, we had Officer Mitchell Rogers resign and take a job with the West Boylston Police Department. So we've been working to fill that vacancy. We worked through a hiring process, we advertised, we did a review of resumes, we had an interview panel of led by Sergeant Rich Gilchrist. I will try and talk louder, I'm sorry. Sergeant Rich Gilchrist, Officer Kevin Trangone, Officer Tim Andre, Sharon McGowan, and Valerie Muldoon was on the interview panel. And then we conducted background investigations, and the candidate that rose to the top is Mr. Reed here. And I would like to recommend that the board hire Jesse as our next full-time police officer. Earlier this year, he is a graduate of the Northern Essex Community College Full-Time Police Academy. He's also a graduate of the Reserve Academy in Boylston, has a bachelor's degree from Fitchburg State University. And actually, one of the things that I like the most, it almost kind of seems a little bit insignificant, since 2011, he's worked in customer service. He's actually worked for Starbucks. And I guess one of the things I look at is if you can deal with upset people in the morning getting their coffee, you can handle just about anything. But also, he's done it since 2011. He did it through college. He's done it after college. It shows a commitment. It shows work ethic. We see with younger generations sometimes a lack of that commitment, and to see that already in him, and to listen in the reports that I read and hear, or see in the reports that I read from his background from his supervisors there, the type of employee he has been, it's really the type of person that we're looking for.
And you're just looking for a good cup of coffee, aren't you?
So we had a discussion about that. So if you see on the expenses a really fancy coffee maker, it's not. Don't worry about it.
Town accountant has spoken. Have you met June yet? Because if you can get by June, you can get by anybody in town, just saying.
So that is it.
All right, well, it's very nice to meet you.
Likewise. Very nice to meet all of you.
And do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Look forward to hopefully not getting stopped by you.
She'll tell you she's the
I will not. No.
There have been selectmen that have been stopped in the past. It happens. It's impossible to drive a car legally. So it happens to everybody.
I've been stopped twice. Just late.
It happens. I've gotten tickets in my life. We're not perfect. Have a good night.
All right.
Dennis?
Dennis?
Yeah. Dennis, come on up.
Now, you have to swing the chair this way so we can get you on camera, so the people in the back can hear you.
Do you want me over there?
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
that's, we're gonna start plopping people onto the side so the camera can see it. Thank you.
I wanted to stop by tonight to go over three things. Two are tax title, and the third one is moving forward with the 32B study. The first one is Tolman, the greenhouses up on Walnut Street. I am in the neighborhood, just so you know. I have my assistant pretty much driving the bus on this one. But I brought some pictures of what we've looked at since 2008, thereabouts. I don't know if you've been up. Chris has inspected it.
Yeah, I've been there.
You know, we're heading into the 10th year of a fairly complicated mess, and it's going to require a lot of work. to take it out of tax title, to get it into tax title, sorry, so we could start managing the property. I've been to the select board twice in the past, not this particular board, and they've requested we not move forward. There's the potential, but probably not, contamination from 2 oil spills that have happened. And then there's the typical question for any greenhouse, what was used in the past as chemicals? Is that still there? The general response, and everyone seems to be an expert, is that most of that stuff, or all of it's washed away. It's been long enough.
How many years ago was that? Or you know?
2011 was the last time it
Okay.
was operated. And I've been told also that the only chemical, I've dealt with cyanide as an EMT. It's pretty bad stuff. They don't even worry about that. It goes away over time, is Roundup. I don't personally remember, Rob might, if he's used Roundup down there, not him, but Tolman used it. I don't remember that kind of spraying. But because of the history, and in all fairness to the taxpayers, if we were to move forward to take the property, we really should have it tested, and there would be a between $0 and $30,000 cost, depending on what you have and who you have do it. The free one might be Minuteman. They supposedly have students that are in a course for that, and they could legally possibly come out and do the testing for us. But we've also talked in the past with the Farm Bureau. They've had quotes. They still have a mortgage on the property, and usually when there's a mortgage, there's kind of a dance between the town and the mortgage holders to see who's going to take it. They're not going to take it. There's $168,000 owed on the greenhouse side, and there's a few $1,000s owed on the railroad property, which is across the street. The railroad property isn't contaminated, from what we know, other than railroad contamination, which isn't a problem. And one member of conservation, who's also involved in bike trails, thought that that property might be a great place to park cars. And it is, it's level. I've also had a member of recreation, Greg, who approached and thought because of the growing population, it's flat property, it might make a nice athletic field across the street, and the parking would also be there. So, it's a quiet street. But there's a million ideas for the property if the town does take it, and I don't want to do all the work unless the select board, just in theory, feels it's time to have a moral obligation to go to the taxpayers and say, hey, we need to clean it up. My position has always been overquote, which I have. We have official quotes from building demo companies to take the main building down for about $30,000. So it's right now, it's not in anyone's budget. And because we've told them to hold off and don't proceed in land court, we're gonna have to start all over again. So I can't say, hey, a month from now we can get it. It may take a year, it may take a little bit longer. Land court is one of the agencies that's always way backed up. So the mortgage is over $190,000, so when you add that to the $160 he owes in taxes, you'd have to really find a sucker to buy that lot to put a house on it.
Don't put that on. Can we edit that out?
Please. And there's no way to go after him?
Well, there's an alternative for the cleanup. No, he's down in Florida, he's
See you
actually,
later, buy him
well,
out.
he's gonna lose his other house. He had the idea of coming to the town and offering it to us for $50,000 plus taxes owed, and I kind of said, don't even
No.
go there. But that's the attitude, It's also not, it may not be considered a brownfield where a lot of your grants come into play. If the oil's gone, if it's clean from chemicals, it's just a dump. Basically, that's what we're talking about, cleaning up. And
But unfortunately, we don't know without it being tested.
you have to test it, you really do. And what kind of test, would have to get an expert in again and just say, look, give us 3 quotes, what do we have to do, what will the state accept? And what would the general population accept? Once you put a tag on a property, it's really hard to try to sell it. The other problem we have is, and it's the question of, is it a buildable lot? Right now, the house is 2 feet, 5 feet from the road.
Yeah.
You know, cars going by, you stand in the doorway, the wind is, you couldn't do it nowadays. It's also a potting shed, it was never officially built as a house. So as people were hired, they put in secret apartments that basically stretch the length of the building. And it's starting to become not just an eyesore, but the roof's starting to cave in. It's starting to become a dangerous building. So something's got to happen. Now, there is an alternative to my involvement, and this is, you know, another department, but the building inspector has the right to require demolition of the building, and, if we interpret it right, hazards that are on the property. So the reason you do it with the building inspector is if the treasurer gets involved while it's in tax title, but not owned by the town, you own it, because now you're starting to manage it. The law keeps the building inspector from making it a town property, and he can put a lien on the property that through the assessors will come back and be put on the tax bills. And it's involved, but it's another way we could do it. Every couple of years, you have to renew things and all that, you have to manage it. You don't gain, you gain up the cleanup, but now the town has to spend money and just add it to the taxes owed, which you're gonna do anyhow if we take it and clean it up. So, that's why I'm here on that one, and for a growing number of people who feel that's something to consider. It's more morally, and probably do it now while the taxes owed are low. The selectmen and the treasurer can waive a lot of the fees down to a certain amount, because even though there's $168,000 owed, it's only about $60,000, $70,000 worth of taxes. Everything else is interest, what I've added for managing it, and, you know, 16% adds up fast.
Yeah.
You can forgive that, but since he doesn't intend to pay it, you know, we're out the $168,000, no matter what.
So we're looking at up to 30K to maybe clean it up,
Possibly, yeah.
possibly. You're
Yeah.
looking at, all right, so 30. Then you're looking at roughly 70 on all the owed stuff once you do your magic and take all the stuff off.
You don't have to, you can waive it, but it's an expense you are giving up, yeah.
All right, and then it's 30 to take down the building-ish.
Yes. Now, once again, that was, I go with
Yeah.
professional, but some of the local folks, you know, if they have the right license, could tear it down.
And then what happens with the mortgage? The 190 that he owes on the mortgage?
The
Is that the
title
responsibility?
we get through the treasurer from the court is the highest one, even over federal orders. Those all go away. The bank, the Farm Bureau's out of luck. They don't get a dime.
So you're looking at possibly 130,000-ish, maybe kind of sort of burden on the town to do something with
Correct.
this property.
Yep.
That's an awful lot to ask the taxpayers to consume.
It's just gonna sit there and rot. That's,
I think it would be worth, sort of, I know you put this on hold a while, but I think it'd be worth putting it on hold and having Margaret look at the options in the property, and maybe also Dave Smith, giving his input, because he kind of has done some of these types of things, and he might be able to
yeah.
He was
give.
at one of the
And it would
meetings.
be nice to see everything laid out, rather than having you just, like, to see a proposal of what the best option is. And I think maybe Margaret could possibly help with that. And she might also have a better handle on, the process for the building inspector and whether that's worth it or those types of things. I think that's one of the things we would be having her in for, is that type of knowledge.
Sound like a plan?
I mean, it's really our only option at this point.
Right.
Because you're gonna need proposals, you're gonna need specifics, you're gonna need, yeah.
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 So-
Right, maybe a timeline of some sort, and with the costs.
Yeah,
I
I
know we've
planned
already
on,
talked about it, but,
I had planned on talking to her, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Just Same thing with
I think
32B.
it's worth having that conversation.
Yeah.
and
Start with
she
her
may-
and-
She may have other ideas,
Yeah.
or there may be grants that she's aware of that we're not, or those types of things
Okay,
that she can maybe help with, or even just get us a better
one of the
idea on
things
the
I,
numbers.
yeah, one of the
Can I
things
just
I'm,
interject a question in this, or
Sure.
you guys are...
Okay.
Dennis, just a point to clarify there about taking it for tax title and then doing the 21E testing and with the town treasurer managing the property. Has anything changed? I know you had said years ago that if the town took it and it was contaminated, now it's our issue. But you've since found out that if the town takes it, does a 21E, finds it's contaminated, they can step back from it, and it goes back to Farm Bureau or Farm Credit or Tolman's or whatever.
Yeah, you,
Is the whole thing about you managing it, does that make things different at all there as far as owning it versus not owning it, if we should find something on it?
if it's owned by the town, then the tax person that's put in charge of it can manage it. Then there's no penalties. If it's in the process of trying to take it while it's in court, it's officially in tax title. It's no longer a tax in the tax collector's office, but the town doesn't own it. That's when the treasurer has to be careful. It can cause liability before the town even owns the property. Those are the two separate things. The other thing that's a possibility, and the attorney's working on it now, it's a complicated general law. You can stay the order and give the property back to the owner in certain circumstances, usually as a result of them wanting to make a payment, which isn't going to happen in this case. So before we went anywhere, we'd have the attorney verify that. Without getting a payment, the town can still give it back to them after you've tested. And that's why we need to
Find
talk.
something.
There's so many options.
right,
Yeah.
right.
But as long as we move forward, that's what I'm looking for.
I feel as though we
Need a plan.
should see what we can do.
Right.
I think we have an obligation.
And because we love those, the Bonazzoli property is something that is already scaring me. Chris has sat in on a meeting that we've had. Since then, I've met the owner of the Dynamite Bunkers
Okay?
and the condo proposers. There seems to be a
Right.
conflict there.
Yeah, well, they could call it the bunkers at Wheeler Pond.
Blow up the condos. The problem is, the state has, and correct me if I'm wrong, because there's so many details on this thing. Mr. Bonazzoli passed away, and he left a lot of property in Bolton and in Berlin and didn't pay the taxes. And 5 of them we inherited. 4 are down around the pond on what I call Lower Pleasant, and I have maps here if anyone wants to.
It's on Woodland, heading.
No, it's on Lower Pleasant. You know when you crisscross at the post office?
Yep.
Pleasant actually goes down the hill.
Oh, okay,
And South Street
Yep.
continues
All right.
down to the Rotary.
okay.
It's that pond down there. And when you're looking at the water, the dam, the state's classified it as a level 5,
Which means,
which means $500,000 to fix it. The Bonazzoli family isn't getting along, we'll say, and as a result, it's kind of a back and forth, who owns it? The daughters come in, the brother's involved. And now the Dynamite person who lives in Lancaster wants to buy the property for obvious reasons. It's very hard to get a new bunker. It's like a sand pit. Once you own
Did we
it, hang
find out
on.
is there dynamite in
Yes.
these bunkers?
Yes.
Okay, we weren't sure.
When they were
That-
first put in, the dynamite was in the Northborough part of the property, and the 2 bunkers, I believe there are in Berlin, were for storage. There've been many owners, the person that owns it now kind of reviewed 4 or 5 people that owned it prior to him, and they used it for different things. He's using it for storage, and I told Eloise today, she didn't know it, but when Whitney Estates went in, the state made him redo that whole explosion area
Oh,
as a result of houses being near where he is. So if the condos get
It's
in,
actually a good thing, right?
it could be a problem.
I mean, it's a good thing that they had to redo it, though.
Yep. And like everything else, the owners are trying to say, hey, do you want some property? And the answer, once again, for me is, we have to talk about it, but no, not at this
Thank you,
point.
please.
And now the dynamite person, he doesn't want to have to spend $500,000. The owners have hired some people to try to get it reclassified as low as level 2, which means it's not really a dam. It's not really a $500,000 fix. So, but it's just going to take time. And at some point, I have to move forward in court just to meet deadlines to start the process. It would take a couple of years, and we could still work it out, but it's going to add quite a bit of legal bills. Each property is going to start out adding another $600 times 4. So I just wanted to let you know that it's a problem like Tolman's in the making, potentially. So we don't have one that the towns might have to deal with. We have 2. The condo person wants to redirect the water and make it a dry area to put up very expensive condos.
That entire pond? He wants to drain the entire pond?
You gotta sit there and not laugh when they talk to you, but yeah, that's gonna
That's what
fly.
I'm hearing.
Wow, okay, good to know.
so what kind of liabilities to the town, leaving these things in the situation that they are? Is
We don't
Is
own
there a
it.
liability?
We don't own it.
No, I
Same thing
know.
with Tolman,
No, I know we don't own it,
Yeah,
yeah.
the liability
As long
all
as we
falls
don't
on
own
the
it,
owner.
but the minute we start taking it,
Right.
then it's
We own
all
it.
ours.
Right, right.
Bonzoli's have approached conservation several times, trying to
Drain the pond?
get us to take the property. This,
Here, I have a pond to.
I have a pond
to
to
give
run
you.
it.
Yes.
I know recently they did lower the pond with permission from the state. And the state has ordered them to fix it, to fix the dam. And they obviously are not, that was a couple of years ago, I think,
Yeah.
when it
Yes.
first happened.
I
Yep.
mean, how many of us can throw $500,000 at a dam?
Right. And, Walter would be happy to go down there with a bag of concrete and some 2x12s, so, and fix it.
Yeah, and then our conservation is involved in it, and then
Yeah.
we are liable also.
Right.
So it's gonna be another multi-dimensional.
And I know that the owners, it's either the daughter or the sister, has spoken to Sudbury Valley trustees to see if there's some grants.
Right.
So,
Ashley, is it?
yeah.
She was at one of our meetings.
Yes, yeah. She seems to do all the speaking for the daughter. And the estate's in flux now, so we're not really sure who owns what.
Right.
There's a little bit of squabbling going on.
Yes.
But I just wanted to make you aware of it.
They need to keep doing what they're doing, and we need to sort of stay away from that for now.
No, there is a 5th parcel. At some point, they may approach gifting it to the town. Not just us that makes the decision, don't have a problem with it. It's the land between Route 62 and the railroad tracks, just after Paul McKelk. It's totally useless land. The taxes on it are a few $100s a year. And they might be interested in gifting it to the town. And that's something that you have to decide.
Before Coburn, that spot right there.
Yes, yeah. It's wet, you know, you can't use it, you dump snow in there, I suppose, if you want to.
Need an EMT, we have a person down in the front row.
We've actually asked the highway department to stop that practice.
But it's there, and they want to donate it, so they may or may not be approaching you about that one. So,
Is
unless...
did you have anything, anybody else have anything to say?
No, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, me too.
But, I mean, you're on top of it in the way you can be, and that's important, and I think we all agree it's important to move forward on these but judiciously. And,
Yep.
But like Dennis says, we have a moral obligation to clean these things up. A lot of places that have been problems in the past have been cleaned up in the last few years, and these are a couple more that are still on the list, so we're getting there.
Yeah.
Just on the Tolman property, obviously, as a neighbor, and when we first moved in, it was a decent-looking greenhouse, and the father had a beautiful colonial salt box, whatever. The place was well-kept and proud of it and whatnot, but through the years, it's gone dramatically downhill. The potting side of the road, Ian and I have actually been doing some cleanup there, getting rid of hundreds of pots and trying to make it so it's not so bad. But I have said that I'd be willing to help out on administrative or physical task if the town was to go forward, and other neighbors have expressed the desire that, yeah, they'd pitch in and physically help or possibly help administratively. That is something that, as a town person, we can help with, so the desire is there from the neighbors as well.
And Dave came from Highway to look to see what they might do, and that's part of what could lower the 100,000 cleanup.
Yeah.
It's a little deceptive because each greenhouse that was temporary actually had cement foundations and all that would have to be dealt with. And Dave has looked at the dam, and that's not something I don't believe that.
He wants to get involved in.
And last,
Sure, that's exactly how he said it, too.
yeah,
Very diplomatically.
Come on, I've saved many turtles by that dam and shushed them on their way.
the last item is 32B.
Yep.
And at the last meeting we spoke, I made a recommendation that we did put the 100,000 in the budget. There were 3 people that submitted quotes. They were all at 10,000 or under. And one I eliminated just because she's retiring, and it was kind of a lack of interest, even though they went through the process. Hard to get phone calls returned, and it brought it down to Marsh McClellan and Anthony Lively. They were both in here to speak to you, and if we move forward, once again, I had planned to meet with Margaret to start the project, and then come back to you, you know, and see who she recommends after I go over the I like the person from Marsh McClellan because she's been involved with the GIC, which is like training ground zero. If you know that, you know everything. And I think she impressed everybody. Anthony is also pretty sharp. You know, he's not afraid to deal with the GIC as well, and not afraid to deal with Maya. Brokers don't get a commission from either one of them, so they're not going to touch that, even if it's a good idea. Would then probably would meet with the Insurance Advisory Committee, see what they come up with. I understand Dave Goulding has a proposal from one group that's been put together. And I'd like to see more than one to go through and see which makes sense, and with the ultimate goal of providing retiree benefits for employees, which we've talked about in the past. Do we cut a little here to help fund over there? Do we keep what we have and add to it? You know, those are financial questions that FinCom's curious about too. So that was something else I wanted to talk to Margaret about when she starts.
Yeah.
That's good.
It would be nice too if the insurance advisory committee was on board with whatever recommendation came forth.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
thanks, Dennis.
A lot going on.
Yep, staying busy?
No. We're changing all the rates and payroll, it's just nonstop. The school consolidation, we're doing a lot of medical benefit changes and stuff, so it's
Yeah.
a lot of work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right. We're on to the vote to approve the residential driveway permit. For 189 Gates Pond Road.
We signed it, did we not?
Yeah, you just should probably just vote it to throw it in the minutes so that it's disclosed.
Okay. We
It's
did,
typically done at a meeting, but because you're on summer schedule and they needed to pave it, you already did it.
all right, so we'll
Just
just
so
make,
voted as on the agenda.
okay, do you want us to take a vote, or just say it's so vote? Okay,
So moved.
all right, we'll hear a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Vote to surplus and to dispose of the cable access TV studio wooden VHS cassette racks. Couldn't find any takers, huh?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Someone will pick them up at the Jones Road Mall. You never know.
Right. Oops. We have an appointment for Margaret Nardowicz as the ADA coordinator through May 31st of 2020.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Marty Miller as the senior work-off program employee, the town photographer. We need to approve his hours, worked for FY19, and a request continued services if need be.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have a better tracking mechanism for that, though, rather than I worked X hours on X project and no one can verify nor not verify that those were the hours worked? Do we need to put one into play?
Any suggestions?
He reports to Peggy Sardell, his hours.
No, she specifically deferred to the selectman's office, which we have no idea.
We have no way of confirming.
Yeah, but I mean, you have photographic proof that he was there. He hands you pictures of his presence at these places. It's not like he's making it up.
No, I'm not questioning
no.
that.
And just,
I'm not questioning that, but I'm just saying, you
Do we
know,
want maybe to hand in his hours after he does them? Or would that be more helpful?
I think if you make this too complicated, you are not going to have a town photographer.
I know I've gotten emails confirming hours that he's said conservation.
right.
I've gotten emails saying, do you agree with this? So I know somebody's checking somehow.
Yeah, I think there should be a check and balance. I mean, I hope that Marty would understand that it's, I mean, if it's for a tax write-off, that the town has an obligation to say, I've worked 100 bazillion hours. Well, where did you work your 100 bazillion hours?
125.
I think
Yeah, well-
if there's too many people involved in it, it'd be easier if the hours were just reported, Marty just reported it to Peggy. Do you know what I mean?
But is she willing to take that on if she deferred it to us?
She does it with the rest of the work-off folks, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Does she?
I thought the department.
Well,
The department head does, and then she
Between so many
collects
other
them.
departments. There is no one else who's split between so many other departments. But that doesn't mean that we should be involved in the mix with all the other people who could be using. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just how many cops are involved in this, you know,
Right.
tracking someone's speed. It's just too much.
Well, do we want to ask Peg then whether she would take that on?
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I mean, you just
Okay.
want somebody to collect his hours rather than.
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah,
and you have
if you
them.
feel more comfortable.
I'll email her, I don't care, that's fine.
Right.
normally a department head signs off on it.
Right.
whatever
And she's not a
they're
department
working
head,
under,
yeah.
so. But you all have no better knowledge than this,
No.
than Peggy. So, like, there's no one person who oversees that employee. It's not me either, so, I mean, it could be Margaret, but she's not gonna be in any situation to know how many hours it took either. It's just passing. the
Well, why don't we
buck.
ask Peg, and if that's not gonna work out, then why don't we,
Come up with a plan B.
we'll talk to Margaret about it. Okay?
Do you wanna do that? Do you want me to? You're doing it.
All right. So, we have offer letters, one for Helen Roach, the Animal Control Officer.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And one for Tony Z.
I thought there were still questions on that.
Yeah.
That it
this
was
is-
an hour per hour, not per visit.
Yeah, and he gets paid $50 per hour for his other job, so I don't think you want to do this per visit.
No.
I think you want to do this per hour.
I have no problem with that.
June, do you have a problem with it? Does it jive with personnel?
I think they approved the $50 an hour also.
I believe personnel was thinking the same thing. The other inspectors all do it by visit. So
Right.
Right.
it's just,
So he wouldn't comport with David Horn, for example, the other alternate building inspector.
He
He
would.
get, yeah, because he gets
No,
per hour
it's-
too.
It's per visit, as she just said.
no.
No.
No,
The other building inspectors are,
per hour.
the other inspectors as in plumbing,
Electrical and
gas, and
plumbing.
electric,
Per visit.
Oh,
are per
that.
visit.
But
Yeah,
building
but
is per
building is
hour.
all per hour.
Do you want to
Correct.
fix
It was just this wasn't
And he is
specified.
And is there
building.
money in the
So-
budget to pay him for FY19?
This year it's a whole new ballgame because,
No, I mean
They
FY19.
split it out.
oh, in 19.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is money available there.
Okay, at $50 an hour.
Well, I don't know how many hours he's worked, but
Well, I think Richard was trying to keep track of it because he knew that he could not exceed what
yeah.
there was.
Yeah.
So David Horn is $50 per visit. This is the signed offer letter. So there's, he would be the only odd man out.
He shouldn't have been. David Horn also should have been per
Per
hour.
hour, yeah.
The offer letter is incorrect.
Okay, just,
This is old, but what is?
Everyone was.
Have you been paying David Horn also?
We haven't paid him yet, I don't think.
Has he put any time in?
I don't think so.
I did plan review.
He's doing plan review.
Yeah, I
He
think
could be, but I don't.
He hasn't
I
said
don't
anything.
know.
Put it through.
Months ago, couple of months ago. The NRP.
Yeah, it is per visit.
Yeah,
But
but that's
he-
not what
his
we,
was not-
if you
his
look
was
back, that's
an
not what we
hour.
discussed.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's, we
One
have,
was an hour.
we have.
Per hour.
ones per
Correct.
hour.
But then this is an error.
This is an error.
Who's that to?
This is David Horn.
The offer letters are in error.
It says $50
Yeah, we
per
had never
visit.
seen that. It was just based on what you had, your minutes.
Okay,
It was Tony Z that I was questioning.
Yeah, and Tony Z, it was the same thing. We voted the same
'Cause
thing for
in-
him as for
In your
everybody
minutes,
else.
it doesn't give a dollar amount. It just
Okay.
says that you approved it, and Leanne was under the
Right.
assumption, as was Mary, that it was per visit. So that's why I'm here.
No.
That's why you're looking.
and
at
I
it
wasn't
again.
sure when Richard was saying that Tony should be paid, if he was thinking per hour or per visit.
I don't know
It
that,
doesn't
but for me
matter.
to pay him, I need to know whether you're
Okay.
getting it per visit or per hour, because it's a big
Well, I think we're gonna have to
difference in
straighten this one out too.
And personnel left.
And,
Personnel was
We-
thinking it was per hour.
Everybody thought it was per hour.
Per hour.
The-
I did too. So,
I don't care.
yeah.
I know.
Either way, I just need something
All right,
that
well,
says how we're going to.
let's confirm that both would be per hour, $50 per hour. And we're gonna have to redo David Horn's letter also.
So Leanne has to encumber that.
Yep.
Yeah, and if there's any issues with, I guess, not having the money in FY19 for some reason.
No,
we'll
in
have to-
19, it's there.
Okay.
We're going to have a problem in 20
Okay,
because of the way it was voted at town meeting.
How was it voted at town meeting?
It was split out.
We have a salary line, we have a full-time line, which would have been for the person, and then a part-time, which only has Leanne in it. And all of this is coming out of part-time, including Richard.
So do we need to do,
We're gonna have to do something.
Line
before the end of the
transfers?
year, Or pretty quick, actually, because it's a lot higher than what Leanne's making.
okay. So
This
are we
hap-
talking
Oh, you said.
special town meeting?
We may have to, or we may have to do a reserve fund transfer, and then we can use the money,
Okay,
but we can't make any transfers in the line items until the last 2 months of the year. And by then, they're gonna be long over.
right.
But we could do a reserve fund transfer if we
We
needed one
could,
before
it's
a
just-
special town meeting.
Yeah.
All right.
Or get
Can you keep
ourselves
us-
a full-time salaried inspector.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so can you keep us posted on
I can,
how we're doing?
yeah, we're just gonna probably have to figure out something pretty quick.
All right, so,
Actually, keep Margaret posted.
right. So if we were to change this to $50 an hour for Tony and for David Horn, do I hear a motion to approve?
We already approved it.
right,
For-
Personnel, did personnel rate that per hour?
Yes,
Yes.
They did, I was at the meeting.
that was what they assumed. I didn't get any copy of their minutes, it was just
We
Claire
can
gave
approve
me
it
back
again,
a
but
thing
it's
that
No, I
been
think it was in an email
That it was.
from Claire.
Yeah, that it was, they were saying it was an hour.
Yeah. So,
Motion to approve it again.
and this is for Tony too, so.
Yep.
All right.
seconded,
All
yeah.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I'll leave those out and we'll fix them. Okay. Authorized expense of Board of Selectmen listings for the 2019-2020 Berlin Community Calendar.
You just
We're
added
at-
some dates.
Yes, and the additional dates would be, make it $22, Mary,
Yep,
total or additional?
no, total.
Okay. All right. If I hear a
Yeah.
motion.
My only question was, if we go to every other week, it's in there as,
Right. There are calendars out there like that, though.
okay, motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't think there's anything to sign here.
When will you know whether you're gonna go every other week? Because I think Wendy, I mean, she's just working on this now, you might have a little leeway. I'm just saying.
I would guess probably we'd want to see how the first maybe month or so went.
Yeah.
And see whether.
Well,
we
I don't
still
think any of us
need
have
it.
really had any discussion about these kind of things with Margaret either.
No, she needs
It's
to get
just-
settled.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just going on most of the time when you have a full-time administrator. You don't do every week meetings.
All right. Okay, the one-day liquor license for the Crystal Club Charity Open.
Well, Dave was here, but then he left. I mean, he had
Yeah,
concerns regarding the grill and the placement and where it's gonna be, so I don't think that we can do anything until,
He just wants them to pull a permit for it. So
Then-
if you could issue it,
With
and then
conditions.
subject to no release until
they get a permit and with all the
Until-
other stuff for him.
you do that.
Until the building
Unless you want
inspector-
to wait 2 weeks, but they have an August date, so.
Let's approve it with conditions.
okay.
Motion to approve it with
Mhm.
conditions.
All right, do I hear a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have the site walk reports for Berlin Auto Parts. Was everybody good, Mary?
Yeah, I mean, they all went.
Wasn't there somebody who
There
had an
was
issue?
one, fire, Dave Litchwell, I thought, had,
Did he have issues?
I pinned them all in
I didn't
there.
think he had issues with.
Oh, he says, "We are working with the owner on a few minor housekeeping items."
but nothing to keep, yeah. Well, you've already issued the license, it's an annual site walk, so.
Right.
They're working on it, so if you feel
So
comfortable.
I just didn't remember whether we had heard from everybody.
Yeah, everyone else is okay.
Okay, all right. So do I hear a motion to sign the letter?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty. And the Cable Advisory Committee,
Left.
well, no, this is the Cable Advisory Committee. This is for cable, internet, and telephone. Do they just want to know
Do they have
whether they
towns
should
of permission
approve it to
authority
explore?
approach Charter to see if they could, any broker, any kind of senior discount? But
Yeah.
the chance of that is they don't know, but they just didn't want to act without
Right.
authority.
I have a question. Can I ask a question? Why is it we only can have charter?
You can't just have Charter, you can have anyone, but we
No
have
one
a
else wants to bid on it.
contract with
Yeah.
Charter, but no one else is bidding for our work. So FiOS could certainly come in, but Verizon isn't expanding on FiOS anymore.
Right.
So any other company could come in here. We have a non-exclusive 10-year contract with Charter, but no one's banging on the door.
And when is that 10 years up?
7 more years roughly.
Should we give them a warning now?
There's no one.
It takes 7 years to
Yeah,
get them
it's-
on here.
Everybody has.
And nobody else is offered.
No.
Yeah. I
And
think it's always
FiOS
been
is
the
what, all
case.
underground cable, so they're not gonna come in and,
No, it's not necessarily all underground, but it's just fiber optic, it's faster, I mean, everything's actually fiber optic, but FiOS is just faster,
yeah.
can handle more.
So do we agree that they can explore this further?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to put an X in the yes box, Mary.
High tech.
Next thing is the 1870 Town Hall request to renew GoDaddy website.
Well, here's my concern about that. We slapped EDC down pretty hard when they wanted to go with their own website, and we told them to get on board with the town website.
Yeah, my recommendation would be you let them do it for this year because we have to redirect that so that people know where they're going, and if you yank it down in, 2 weeks?
20 days.
So we need a, we
Because the
need,
GoDaddy
but I
is
think
just the
it's the.
site, right?
It's the web host, or the internet host, and they have their own site. I think that our site is probably perfectly adequate, but you do need to spend time taking the folks who are currently going there and telling them where to go now. You can't just,
Does our site have the because, what was it, Holly mentioned in one of her emails, or maybe Leanne, about the email functionality? Well, does
There-
our site have that capability?
there are ways to do notifications or that through the website,
Okay.
which would also have to be worked out, but they're gonna need to get, I don't know if the email addresses that they have currently with GoDaddy is maintaining that, or how that's being done either, so
Okay.
they'll have to, these are all things that have to be figured out, so there's a transition period that has to happen in order for this to work.
So you need the
So
year
you
to work
need to,
everything
you
out
need to
to
renew it for
plan.
this year, but I think it should be renewed with the condition that we
It's
will
only-
start
Right.
transitioning over to our site.
Agreed. You have 1 year to
And
fix
I
it.
don't know who put their website up or who's,
Yeah.
any of that information, which is why we want it all on our site. Because somebody must have designed that and put it up too. Because we're gonna need whoever
I
has
believe,
control of
I'm
it
guessing that
to put the
Debbie
redirect up.
probably started that.
Well, I mean, so we just need to respond back to Holly to say, yeah, we'll give you a year, and we'll remind you in 6 months, but you just have a year. If you do nothing in that year, you lose your functionality.
What was the
Sorry.
cost of the website? Is it an annual cost?
It's probably, they have to re-up for a year. It's
Is it
probably not a ton.
$500?
$500?
I never, I asked
Seriously?
multiple times in email, and I never got a response back to the cost.
I don't remember.
Maybe not, maybe it wasn't that much, I don't know why that's ringing a bell.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was like around $100.
That sounds better.
All right,
Because I know.
Maybe
Leanne
100,
was paying
130 or
for-
something like that, because she was paying for
all
it.
right, well then, why don't we do that? Why don't we do what Lisa's suggesting and say
I would like
that,
to see the redirects.
keep
start
it for 1
soon.
year? Right?
Agreed.
All right.
Because there is, I mean, there's a lot that you can do with the Civic Plus site to,
And then transition.
have you guys been playing with it at all or
We
not?
can't, we're not getting anywhere with it. We gotta have another lesson.
Okay.
It's not as easy as what she showed us.
Okay.
I spent a week trying to change her hours. It's not as easy as they say it is.
That's a universal theme.
Yeah, a lot of us are having an issue with trying to
All
get
right.
it up in the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah, there's nothing in any of the in any of the emails, even though I asked, how much is the renewal cost? I got squat for response.
Hmm.
All it was this needs to be done in the next 20 days.
And it does come out of their revolving account. So,
Yeah, so I'm okay as long as it's contingent, they know that the clock has started to tick. And it's on them.
all right. What's this?
Yeah, if you look, it's already over on our site.
And that's what Tom said. But it's already
all-
there.
All the information is
Yeah.
there, so it's the redirect issue.
We just need to make sure that we treat all the departments fairly.
All right.
Really, too, it's if you're gonna go look for information on a town-owned facility,
That's where you go.
that's where you should go.
All righty, we've got special article closeouts.
You just do this one by one, I'm assuming.
June, do you want to come up?
Do I have to?
Hi.
How are you?
Very well. How's your new abode? Moving in? Getting
We're
comfy?
still moving. We're still moving.
How's the air?
As long as you don't move around, it's okay. We'll see how it goes when it gets humid now.
Like this week?
There's no air conditioning. We don't have a blower. Unless you stand up there, you can just barely feel it. So
Awesome.
I'm at the end of the system.
We'll find out in the winter too, right?
We're okay with that, but it being cold.
Oh,
Yeah,
All
it's the
right.
heat. I don't have to go with. I just want to sleep.
all right, so we've got the matching grants, $2,870.91 left.
That one I think can be closed, because you have
That is
another
the-
50,
I would
right?
like to keep it at
Oh,
least
okay.
another meeting. We'll just hold that open. I'm thinking,
Is this the most recent
We
one?
have one?
no, that's
This is the old one? Okay.
Way back a while ago,
Oh, FY 2008.
we, the selectmen authorized the fire department to use part of that. I have a grant right now that's open for that we have not yet been reimbursed for. So I don't know if when the paperwork came through, it just wasn't earmarked to come out of that fund. So I'm having Jim see if he can find the file that was left, so that we can see if that would take care of it. If not, then I have to go to a special town meeting to possibly
Well,
clean
you
it
got a
up.
list going, don't you, honey?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Okay.
so leave it open.
So leave
We
it
have a dry
open.
erase board now.
Oh, yeah. You do. All right.
But once that is, anything
Once
left
I
can be closed?
Yes, yes. And if you want to do it that way, you can do
Sure.
that, and then if I can clean it up before the books close, then I can always close it out.
All right.
So how about we give June permission to go ahead and
You want me to sign this then?
Yeah, you can sign that, and you
All
can
right.
just put it down once that is finalized.
In June we
Signing to
trust.
close it,
Well,
subject to her
it's-
being able to,
After June
Yeah, after I
finalizes,
can confirm
she
it.
can go
We don't
ahead.
need that one to cover that.
I won't
grant.
date it. I'll just
You
leave
can,
it.
you can date it. It's
All right.
okay.
And what is it? The 9th, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Curbing sidewalks. We just had Pam Dona ask about
Mm-hmm.
sidewalks and when are they going to repair them?
Dave is working with the CMRPC, is that who's doing the complete streets?
Yeah,
And this was, I think, in the mix of using that too. I mean, there's not a lot there, but
I know but once you have sidewalks, don't you need to have a plan for when they need to be replaced?
updated and,
Yeah.
yeah.
They only last so long.
So.
We used some of that.
I reached out to Mr. Wheeler, I'll call him Tim because he'll yell at me about that. Sidewalks, major part of the complete streets, prioritization plan submitted to the state and approved. When Margaret arrives, help coordinate effort to secure some of the funding from Safe Routes to School, our housing designation, complete streets implementation, each is a potential source for funding to bring ADA compliant sidewalks to the center as well as more efficient parking around the common. So, it's in process. I mean,
So
there's
we're
stuff
leaving
going
this
on
one
with it.
open?
It's
that
up
the
to you, it's
recommendation?
just that if you're gonna close it out, then they may need to come back, and, which I'm sure if they're gonna need money, it'll probably be more than that, but
yeah,
Okay.
it just seems like what this was for is
it's kind of
done.
done.
So
Which
I
is
think
kind of what the
we
finance
should-
committee wants us
I
to
think we
start
should
doing, and
close
then
it.
ask for any new money that you have.
Let me look here.
So
So it was
close it.
originally $200,000
Yeah, and you got this little
For-
bit hanging out.
for improvements to the town center to include repaving, granite curbing, sidewalks.
from a decade ago.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever did from the corner of Walnut and Carter towards, in Highland, up that street. And I'm sure that's the sidewalk Pam walks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it is,
awful.
that is the area
But you
that she
can't,
was
you
talking
can't do
about.
it for $7,500, which is
Yeah,
what's
no, no,
there.
I
Yeah.
understand that, but I'm just
So-
saying that never, that one sidewalk never got taken care of.
Well, what if
Do
we
you know
were
what
to
I
leave it
mean? From the
open?
library,
Going that way.
across the street from the library,
Right,
towards Balance Rock.
yeah.
Well, it's hard because people park on it too. You know, they park on the sidewalk, so even if the sidewalk was done, unless it's raised,
Well, there is a section of
With
it
the
that's
curb.
paved.
you know, people still park
Yeah.
all the way down it though.
But
Doesn't matter.
if this project's gonna happen, it's gonna probably happen through the Complete Streets, which is gonna be another grant and another request for funds, which we should see the whole project and the
Yeah.
town should approve the whole project. We shouldn't be using funds that were appropriated 9 years ago for a project that is.
That was already
Yeah.
completed.
Completed.
Okay,
Close it.
all right. That was a vote, right?
Yes.
And Margaret's gonna have her work cut out for her.
She's gonna be busy. Did you order enough weight pads for the woman? Because she's gonna. We did. Okay. Gonna do a lot of those.
A lot of different, because we weren't sure what she liked, so.
Color coded by the department.
All right. Costs associated with the new fire chief, $69.56. Is there not something we can use this for?
I thought, is that one we just
There
used?
hasn't been a physical ordered for this chief.
I sent an email back to you guys. I believe this one is 0. I think you guys just spent this,
Okay,
and you took out partial out of your selectmen's because you
Yeah.
overspent it.
Yeah.
this is the one?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What year is that? That's the old chief one.
It's the only one we have.
Yeah, we didn't do a
2016.
new one because
don't-
this one was hanging out,
Correct.
right?
Right.
So, awesome, it's gone, done.
So we don't need to
Okay.
sign this?
No, because it's already 0.
All right.
You wanna put an X on it or something to indicate so we don't go back and go like, yeah,
Send
and
them back
it.
to her because it's spent.
Alrighty, and we've got the Bullard House renovations, which Barry has said he'd like to leave open.
I would like to see you appoint somebody in charge of that project before it gets started.
Can you put that on your list for Margaret? That would be good. You don't give it to her on Monday when she comes and
Oh,
has
God,
that
no.
coffee.
No, we're gonna give her a week.
All right.
Just slide it under the
Well,
door
this
as
is
you
the
go
first
by.
100 days, so
you're
full
leaving
speed
it open.
ahead, man.
Leaving it open and hopefully someone will project manage it to figure out.
Well, we've had a couple people, but it's just that we need one, not multiple people who think they're in charge, because that's when
Yeah.
we get into this.
Okay.
So, then there's the Town Hall elevator project, which isn't this about wiped out?
We actually have that spent down a little bit more. We're still waiting for the bill to come in for the HVAC. That has
Were
not
they
come
able
in
to
yet.
purchase it?
I thought it
Who
was
knows?
ordered, but I don't.
I haven't
honestly
touched
know.
base with anyone.
It looked
haven't
like
seen
Barry
any.
wanted to leave that open because there was still stuff.
Oh, no,
going on.
it's already spent, and then
This is already
some.
gone, okay.
Yeah, so we need to leave that one open if
Yeah.
it's not spent by next week.
Okay.
No, you gotta,
Sign it.
top,
Wait a minute.
middle, where it says don't close out.
Oh. See, I wasn't doing that.
No,
No.
the next one up.
Ugh.
We don't want to close it, right? Which one is?
Special article is no longer needed.
Okay, down, yep, you did, yep,
I did the right one.
okay, sign, please. Sorry.
All right. I wasn't signing them unless, I guess I'll have to go back because I didn't sign any of the other ones.
That was
that we
awesome.
weren't.
Good job.
I'll go back.
That was good adding, please.
You can set it on
All right.
table anytime. As long as you face the camera and enunciate. There you go.
Jen, can you hear her?
She can hear because she's
Enunciate?
on the phone.
Saying no.
It's because I'm not
Alright.
talking.
Special town meeting, a special town meeting, town administrator consult.
It was a special
Word.
town meeting article.
Okay.
We're done hiring Margaret.
We've spent down most of that.
Okay.
I think we just actually, I don't know if there's anything
Is this just
additional.
for the
We
consultant?
actually haven't done a pre-employment visit physical with her. either.
Correct.
Well, it's not gonna cost $8,000.
No, you just
You
spent
gotta leave
the
it.
final payment out of that was like $6,000, so there's like $2,000 left.
Okay.
Close it. I don't
The
know.
initial preparation of the hiring,
I think it was just for the consultant.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was for,
or
Yeah.
purpose of engaging a consultant.
Yep.
Yeah,
Close
so
it.
you can't use that.
So we are not closing this out.
you are
You are
closing
We
it.
closing
out.
it.
are closing it out, I'm sorry.
I may not hand that in to you till tomorrow until I make sure MRI doesn't have anything kicking around.
On the last bill, you did put down second and final
I know.
on the
but-
bill, but,
But I thought the second fire
Yeah.
one was the final.
Yeah.
There was an addendum, so.
You're still holding on to that check, yes? Or did you let it go?
no, I mailed it.
For fire?
I was about to break into song. I let it go.
Oh, I know, I still have it on my desk.
Too bad you missed the opportunity.
All right, this is the matching grant, 15,000. This
That
one we're
needs to
leaving
stay
open.
Which one is that for?
The 2000, FY 2019
Special
special
town
Yes,
That's the new
yes, that's the
matching
one.
grant, 15,000.
Yeah.
So
Do not close.
Do
do
not close.
not close.
We'll get the hang of this, you realize, by the time we get to the last one.
Yeah,
only
then I
once
have
a
to go
year.
back.
You need to bold it.
Not
Alright.
on the list, so not in front of you tonight, is the $50,000 for the wellness trail, which didn't have a sunset clause attached to it, I don't think, when it was approved last spring.
Oh, is that why you sent that to me?
We need to send, we need to get
You
rid of
did,
that
you
one
sent
then.
Because it's not in front of you.
You sent me an attachment. I thought it was gonna be
Oh, I
for,
think it went to, probably recreation.
all right, so this one is the Energy Committee, and we're leaving it open
Yes,
at the
Yes.
request of,
because they
Yes,
have
it's
bills.
still, yeah, we haven't paid all the bills and we're waiting for a credit and, yeah.
That project is almost complete. He's just fighting with them over
really close.
2 lights that they have not
two
replaced. Well, they just randomly went through and there are some private lights over on like Gates Pond area that they just replaced. So they didn't replace some of ours because they replaced some of the private lights.
Should we mark the poles?
We're not paying for them, that's all.
But you can't, it's not like you're gonna go back and you have
Tell them
residents
to
there, are you
unscrew.
gonna go have them pull them out now? And they've already gotten rid of the old equipment, so are we gonna pay to put the old I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, you just kinda wanna leave them where they are, but they have to fix the
Yeah.
2 that are outstanding.
All right.
He's like,
think
you
that's
had an
it.
inventory list, cause they're like, where are they? Can you give us the number on the pole?
And I think there was also, we were gonna look into seeing if we could get a couple of extra, in case we have to
Yeah.
replace any,
Yeah, and that would work out of
so
that,
we don't
right?
have to order it,
Yeah,
I think.
we should have a stock.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Miss June.
Do I hear an approval to submit to the DCR the final report for the community garden well pump project?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. I thought it was a very good report. I don't need to sign this one, do I?
No, no.
Okay,
Did they come back and say that we could use the money?
not yet. All right, sick vacation personal FY19 closeout. I didn't really have a chance to look at this.
June, you said that could be held, right?
It can be.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Were you okay with this?
Is it?
I only emailed it to her right before she came back.
Right. Or do you want time to look at it?
How about we wait? It sounds like nobody knows.
There wouldn't be an okay from me, it's whatever time is left over that's being rolled over.
Yeah, it really is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have any, I don't approve it, I just accept it.
And I'm sure it's accurate. I just didn't have a chance to really look at it.
So how much is being rolled? Rolling.
You can't roll vacation time past the first 2 months of the year. So that's all gonna be burnt in July and August.
Okay.
On the sick time, none was used, it's being put into long-term sick. Personal, 1 day was given, 1 day was used, then you can't roll it over anyhow, and that is what it is.
All right.
That is it.
All right. Can you share with Lisa? Please. Please and thank you.
That's fine.
So do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty. Is there any other new business?
I have a few.
Okay. Just the look on your face, that's all.
No, they're easy peasy ones. So I thought for fun, Dave was kind enough to change the blinky sign down at the Rotary. You know, keep Berlin clean, pick up your trash or something like that. Obviously, after a while, people don't see the message anymore. And where people are always concerned about the amount of trash in Berlin, just to get them engaged, and I'll own it, which is fine. Can we have like a monthly contest where people can submit ideas, nice ideas, and then, you know, we can vote on them and then that can go up on the sign? I'm thinking just community involvement. If, you know, you want to put it up there, then when you drive by, you're like, yeah, I did that. I mean, just something to keep the town involved. I mean, people constantly complain about the amount of trash. Well, here's an opportunity to do something. So, didn't know, just an idea.
Do you have
Throw
an
it out
issue with
there.
that? We can let her be in charge.
Yeah, just as long as it's, you know, there are other things that need to go up there at times.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a given. That's a given. If there's a town event, then the town event goes up, taken care of, comes back down, something goes up. But just to let people, okay. All right, I'll put something together.
There's also, I don't know if you're interested in, I couldn't find any information online, but Bill Ricca was doing a program something about everybody picking up 5 pieces of trash or something. There was an organized program that sounded interesting, but I couldn't find.
I think we ought to ask Tom if he can fingerprint the fireballs and run it through the system and see if we can figure out who it is.
That can't possibly be one person. They would be drunk all the time.
I'm shocked because I'm walking
It's all over
now.
town.
I have to wear gloves and bring a trash bag when I walk.
We'll get you a stick.
That
I
would
might
work
need-
for the fireball things, though.
No, they
Yeah.
did, they're,
I know.
I think I counted 55.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
All right. I'll scoot around on the web and see if I can find anything like that. Pick up trash. Okay.
Yeah. Like 5 pieces
Well, it's
a
like,
week or something ridiculous.
I've seen stuff, I mean, when you go to the
Organized
beach.
little-
I was gonna
Same
say,
thing when you go to the
something at
beach,
where if
you pick up-
X amount of
Yeah,
bag of trash, I don't know what it was.
we can come up with something.
I can't remember what it was.
You know.
We'll leave it to you.
And-
Okay,
yeah.
leave it to me.
And probably you can even call somebody over in Billerica.
Yeah, okay. There was an old email kicking around about ADA transition plans. And I know that when Joe was here, I had talked to him and Dave about the doors downstairs. They had come back and it had just kind of died on the vine. I'm thinking maybe it's a Margaret thing that I can talk to her about, but it's not critical with everything else going on. I mean, we need to prioritize. But something that, because Berlin is, it's about half out of the 40 towns that have put together information and to assist with the applications for the Massachusetts Office on Disability for evaluation and transition plan. Berlin is one of 20 towns that have not done anything, so I'd like us to try and do something. So I'll just hang on to this and chat with Margaret when
Our new
it's...
ADA coordinator.
That is correct, right up alley with her. All right, so
Here to object.
No, she offered. She
we asked,
offered. Yeah.
all right, okay. And then, yeah, and then just a global, obviously, I'm sure Margaret will do it, but when she gets here, just a reminder to all the boards that if they have questions, to go to her with that. So they aren't coming to like, you know, to Lisa, to me, to you, and the information isn't going up to Margaret where it should be. So we'll figure out something with that. That's another not critical, but needs to be out there.
Yeah. Might have
Okay.
to have like a working session to figure some of this stuff out.
Agreed.
Warrants are gonna be another thing.
Yeah.
Is she gonna sign them or change it?
I don't know.
from you to her?
We have a lot of discussion to be
I
had.
think it is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
All right. New business, old business?
I think I had mentioned that I was going to work with Dave on the grant for the parking lot again, the same one I did last year. However, when I was going through the email that Peter forwarded over, they had decided that the MassWorks grant wouldn't work for the library or the salt shed thing, and there was some talk of using the grant that I was going to apply for that, and I was trying to, I have a call into CMRPC that I put in last week to try to find out whether anybody was working on this, because I don't want us to have like 3 applications for the grant go in.
Yeah.
And so it's due on the 11th. I will probably work on that and sign your name if that's okay. But I honestly don't know, because there were so many people involved in this which can't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing. You can't have,
Too many cooks?
yes.
Yeah.
We can't have the library applying and the ABC applying and us
Yeah.
applying.
Well, I think
just
we do
can't.
need to have some conversation instead of
Yeah.
everybody doing their own thing.
Well, that's why it goes back to Margaret, where she'll rein everybody in.
Yeah.
Yeah. that-
So just so we don't miss it, I think our odds are small like they were last year, but I thought it was worth.
It's worth a try.
Because
Yeah.
that parking lot's a mess.
Yes, thank you for
And he
doing
didn't
that.
give me the quote for that, so I do have a proper quote from a paving company to put on there.
All right,
Okay.
well, let us know if you need anything. Okay.
Cool.
If there's nothing else, then we are scheduled to have an executive session, strategy session for negotiation with non-union personnel, the fire EMS chief.
Not coming back.
And we will only return to open session to adjourn.
Vote.
Kawasaki, aye.
Keefe, aye.
Stone Eye. Thanks, Mr. B.